The US dollar ended Sunday's trading session in Iraq on a stronger note, with the parallel market showing a modest increase by the close of the day. According to the latest market survey, the dollar hovered around 150,000 Iraqi dinars per 100 US dollars, reflecting continued movement in the country's unofficial currency market. While the increase was relatively small, it attracted the attention of traders, business owners, importers, and anyone following Iraq's foreign exchange market, because even minor daily fluctuations can influence prices, purchasing decisions, and overall market sentiment. By the end of Sunday's trading, the US dollar was exchanging at 150 Iraqi dinars per $100 in Baghdad's Al-Kifa and Al-Harithia central exchanges. Earlier in the day, the rate had stood at 149,650 dinars per $100, meaning the dollar gained 450 dinars during the trading session. Although this change may appear modest compared to larger historical fluctuations, it is still significant because Iraq's currency market is closely monitored by investors, merchants, and financial observers looking for signs of broader economic trends. The movement in Baghdad's central exchanges was also reflected in local exchange shops across the capital. By the close of business, exchange offices were selling 100 US dollars for 150,500 Iraqi dinars, while purchasing the same amount at 149,500 dinars. This difference between buying and selling prices represents the normal spread maintained by exchange businesses, allowing them to manage operating costs and market risks, while continuing to provide foreign currency to customers. Meanwhile, in the Kurdistan region's capital of Erbil, the market also experienced higher dollar prices. Exchange shops reported selling rates of 150,200 Iraqi dinars per 100 US dollars, while buying prices stood at 150,100 dinars. The relatively narrow difference between Baghdad and Erbil demonstrates that Iraq's regional currency markets continue to move in a similar direction, although small local differences are common because of variations in supply, demand, transportation costs, and local business activity. It is important to understand exactly what these figures represent before drawing broader conclusions. These exchange rates reflect the parallel market, often referred to as the street market or unofficial market. They are not the official exchange rate established by the Central Bank of Iraq. The central bank continues to maintain its official exchange rate, and there has been no official announcement indicating any revaluation, reinstatement, or change in Iraq's official currency value. This distinction is extremely important because many online discussions mistakenly confuse changes in the parallel market with official government monetary policy. The parallel market responds primarily to daily buying and selling activity, commercial demand, seasonal factors, banking procedures, and the availability of US dollars. These daily fluctuations should not be interpreted as evidence of an official adjustment to the Iraqi dinar's value. Throughout recent months, Iraq's currency market has experienced periods of both appreciation and depreciation in the unofficial exchange market. Some trading sessions have seen the dollar strengthen, while others have recorded noticeable declines. These changes often occur within relatively narrow ranges, as traders respond to economic developments, government policies, and shifts in demand for foreign currency. One of the primary drivers behind these daily fluctuations is the level of demand for US dollars from Iraqi importers. Iraq imports a significant portion of its consumer goods, machinery, electronics, food products, medical supplies, and industrial equipment. Since international suppliers typically require payment in US dollars, Iraqi businesses regularly purchase dollars from exchange markets to complete overseas transactions. Whenever import demand increases, the need for dollars naturally rises. If the supply of available dollars remains relatively unchanged, higher demand can place upward pressure on the exchange rate in the parallel market. This basic relationship between supply and demand remains one of the strongest influences on Iraq's unofficial currency market. On the other hand, when the supply of dollars increases or demand temporarily slows, the dollar may weaken against the Iraqi dinar in the street market. This explains why exchange rates often fluctuate from one trading session to another without necessarily reflecting any major economic event. Another important factor influencing the market is the operation of Iraq's banking system. In recent years, Iraqi authorities have introduced various reforms designed to improve transparency in international financial transactions. Banks have implemented stricter compliance procedures aimed at meeting international standards regarding money transfers and foreign exchange operations. These reforms are intended to strengthen Iraq's financial system, improve oversight, reduce illegal currency activities, and increase confidence among international financial institutions. However, during periods of adjustment, such regulatory changes can temporarily affect how easily businesses obtain US dollars through official banking channels. When access to official banking channels becomes more limited or requires additional documentation, some businesses may turn to the parallel market to obtain the foreign currency they need. This additional demand can contribute to short-term increases in unofficial exchange rates. Market psychology also plays an important role in daily trading. Currency traders frequently react not only to confirmed economic data, but also to expectations regarding future developments, news reports, government announcements, international events, oil prices, regional political developments, and banking updates can all influence market sentiment. If traders anticipate stronger demand for dollars in the coming days, they may purchase additional currency in advance, contributing to higher prices. Conversely, if expectations improve regarding dollar availability or economic stability, some traders may sell dollars, placing downward pressure on the exchange rate. Oil remains another critical element in Iraq's overall economic picture. As one of the world's major oil exporters, Iraq earns the vast majority of its government revenue through crude oil exports. Since oil sales are generally conducted in US dollars, global oil market conditions directly affect Iraq's foreign currency earnings. When oil prices remain relatively strong, Iraq generally receives higher dollar revenues from exports. Increased foreign currency inflows can strengthen the country's financial position and support overall dollar availability within the economy. However, the relationship between oil revenues and daily parallel market exchange rates is not always immediate or direct because multiple financial mechanisms influence currency distribution. Government fiscal policy also influences market conditions. Public spending, infrastructure projects, salary payments, investment initiatives, and reconstruction efforts all contribute to economic activity. As money circulates throughout the economy, demand for imported goods may rise, indirectly affecting demand for foreign currency. Inflation expectations are another consideration. Businesses closely monitor exchange rate movements because imported products make up a large portion of Iraq's retail market. Even relatively small increases in the cost of obtaining dollars can influence wholesale pricing decisions, particularly for goods sourced from international suppliers. Consumers may eventually notice changes in retail prices if higher import costs persist over extended periods. However, a single day's movement in the exchange market does not automatically translate into immediate changes in consumer prices. Long-term trends generally have a greater impact than isolated daily fluctuations. The spread between buying and selling prices, observed in Baghdad and Erbil, also provides useful information about market conditions. Exchange businesses maintain these spreads to cover operating expenses, compensate for market risks, and generate profits. Stable spreads often indicate orderly market operations, while unusually wide spreads may suggest increased uncertainty or reduced liquidity. The figures reported at the close of Sunday's trading suggest that normal market activity continued. Despite the increase in the dollar's value, exchange shops remained active, and both buying and selling operations continued without signs of severe market disruption. International financial developments may also indirectly influence Iraq's currency market. Changes in US interest rates, global economic growth, inflation trends, geopolitical developments, and international trade patterns can all affect worldwide demand for the US dollar. Since the dollar serves as the world's primary reserve currency, global events frequently shape its relative strength across many countries. Nevertheless, Iraq's domestic market remains heavily influenced by local economic conditions, government financial policies, central bank regulations, banking sector reforms, commercial activity, and local demand for imported goods continue to play central roles in determining daily movements in the parallel exchange market. For investors following Iraqi financial developments, it is essential to distinguish between market speculation and confirmed official policy. Social media platforms and various online forums frequently circulate rumors suggesting major changes in Iraq's exchange rate policy. However, such claims should always be verified through official announcements from the Central Bank of Iraq or the Iraqi government. As of today, no official announcement has been made regarding any revaluation of the Iraqi Dinar, reinstatement of the currency, or adjustment to the official exchange rate. The figures discussed in this report refer solely to trading activity within Iraq's parallel currency market and should not be interpreted as evidence of any official monetary policy change. Financial analysts generally recommend focusing on verified economic indicators rather than rumors, official central bank statements, government policy decisions, banking reforms, fiscal measures, and internationally recognized economic data provide a much more reliable basis for evaluating Iraq's financial outlook than unverified online speculation. The Central Bank of Iraq continues working towards strengthening financial stability, modernizing banking operations, improving compliance with international financial standards, and supporting confidence in the country's monetary system. These long-term initiatives aim to create a more transparent and efficient financial environment, capable of supporting sustainable economic growth. Meanwhile, businesses operating within Iraq continue adapting to changing market conditions. Importers monitor exchange rates carefully when planning purchases. Exporters evaluate international market opportunities. And financial institutions adjust their operations in response to evolving regulatory requirements. For ordinary Iraqi citizens, exchange rate movements can affect purchasing power, especially regarding imported goods, electronics, automobiles, medical equipment, construction materials, and many consumer products rely on international supply chains, making exchange rates an important economic indicator for households and businesses alike. Looking ahead, market participants will continue monitoring several important factors. These include future central bank policies, developments in Iraq's banking reforms, oil market performance, government spending plans, regional economic conditions, and international financial trends. Each of these elements has the potential to influence currency market activity in the weeks and months ahead. At the same time, daily fluctuations similar to Sunday's increase are a normal feature of active foreign exchange markets. Currency values naturally respond to changing economic conditions, business transactions, investor expectations, and financial flows. Not every movement signals a major economic shift, and careful analysis is always necessary before reaching broader conclusions. Sunday's closing figures indicate that the US dollar strengthened modestly during the day's trading, rising from 149,150 dinars per $100 in the morning session to 150,100 dinars by the close in Baghdad's central exchanges. Exchange shops in Baghdad closed with selling prices at 150,500 dinars and buying prices at 149,500 dinars, while Erbil recorded selling prices of 150,200 dinars and buying prices of 150,100 dinars. These numbers provide an accurate snapshot of current market conditions in Iraq's parallel foreign exchange market. They illustrate the ongoing balance between supply and demand, while highlighting the importance of distinguishing unofficial market trading from official government monetary policy. As always, anyone following developments involving the Iraqi dinar should rely on confirmed information issued by official institutions rather than speculation circulating online. Daily market fluctuations are an important part of Iraq's financial landscape, but they should not be confused with official changes to the country's exchange rate policy. Until the Central Bank of Iraq announces otherwise, the official exchange rate remains unchanged, and there has been no confirmed revaluation, reinstatement, or official adjustment of the Iraqi dinar.